Mardi Gras season is in full swing with parades and private balls packing social calendars and filling weekends. In the days leading up to Fat Tuesday, February 13th, float makers are in a frenzy, putting finishing touches on thousands of floats that roll during the season. I went behind the scenes at Kern Studios in New Orleans, a family-owned company synonymous with Mardi Gras since the 1940s.
It's insane. It's just absolutely insane. On the Saturday before Mardi Gras, we do the three of the largest parades in all of Mardi Gras. They all fall on that day.
Bobby Zobler is putting finishing touches on a large prop for one of many floats under construction at Kern Studios. The float maker is a former sign painter who became mesmerized by Mardi Gras and found his muse here at Kern Studios, where he's worked for 25 years and counting.
The painting of a prop like this takes 3 to 4 days.
So what is this made of?
It's sculpted out of styrofoam. So they put a single layer of paper mache over the styrofoam to give it a smooth finish. And then what they do to make it more durable is we take it and we spray a polyurethane coat on it.
Before Bob gets the prop to paint, sculptors work with a robot named Pixie to carve styrofoam blocks into creations from digitized designs.
We create thousands of floats for Mardi Gras every single year. And so, I mean, it's, a year-round job. Everyone asks me, when do you start making Mardi Gras? I go, Wednesday. It's the day after.
Patrick Kern is a fourth-generation float builder and director of operations at Kern Studios. He took us on a behind-the-scenes tour of Blaine Kern's Mardi Gras world, the part of Kern Studios open to public tours. We also went behind the scenes for an insider's look at float making, including this room, where digital artists operate Pixie.
It's able to cut out at a rate that really our sculptors really aren't able to do. And also we use it a lot for commercial projects because it cuts to a millimeter tolerance.
As Pixie carves intricate, precisely detailed props for the floats, in another nearby building resides the float barn, where workers are constructing the float frames out of plywood and covering them with fabric. Some have little knobs embedded in them known as bump outs to add depth and dimension to the float's surface.
You know you're curious as to where the bathroom is on the float? Here you go. This is one of the bathrooms.
Every year so there's two different types of floats for Mardi Gras parades. There's theme floats and then there's signature floats. So the signature floats stay the same year over year, and the theme floats are basically, each crew has a theme.
Patrick's grandfather, Blaine Kern, son of a sign painter, founded the float-making company in 1947 after misfortune, fate, and opportunity collided. Blaine's mother was ill, and she needed medical care, so Blaine offered to paint a mural to pay for her surgery.
They're from the second oldest neighborhood in New Orleans. Algiers only had one hospital at the time, and so it's called the Algiers Clinic. And the owner of the clinic at that time, he was the captain of the fledgling crew of Allah. He had agreed to, Blaine, if you can paint the history of medicine on our walls, we'll go ahead and do the, I'll perform the surgery for you, and I'll go ahead and do that. And so my grandfather ends up doing this, super, super detailed and crazy over-the-top mural that turned out so incredible that Dr. LaRocca, who was the captain of Allah at the time, basically asked him to become, the actual designer and float painter and create the parade for him.
Blaine and his dad began making floats for the crew of Allah, which caught the attention of the crew of Rex.
They didn't really like the fact that, the poor people from Algiers on the West Bank had a better parade than the ones running down, the streets of St. Charles and uptown New Orleans. And so basically he brought my grandfather on to, start designing and creating their parade. At this point, the only people riding in the parades were, old line families and old money and kind of, it was very exclusive. And so what my grandfather actually ended up doing was help to kind of democratize Mardi Gras and to make it something that it wasn't. He wanted, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, who you are, whether you're poor or rich, if you want to do it, you can participate in some respect.
Blaine's over-the-top creations started gaining attention outside of New Orleans, attracting the interest of Disney and other themed attractions. Today, Kern Studios creations populate Disney parks, the Las Vegas Strip, and countless other places.
Like, what's going to happen to this after the parade?
We don't throw anything away. And while we may not need a bottle of Aperol anymore in the future, we may need a bottle of something else.
So we have props that are literally from the 50s and 60s that we're still reusing and kind of repurposing year over year.
The day after Mardi Gras, it's back to work for the crew of artists at Kern Studios. They'll begin disassembling floats and recycling props to craft next year's floats.